Trade deadline started a few days ago, let's be honest. But
yes,
one of the big ones that broke last night, we're kicking off our trade deadline coverage with, is Jake Guentzel to the Carolina Hurricanes. But first, how well did you guys sleep last night?
Oh, not great.
Not great.
Do you have a product for me?
I do. It's Sleep Breakthrough from BioOptimizers.
Could use it.
Listen, it's. I mean, you could use it because Jesse had to save you yesterday and do a commercial read when you forgot one.
Thank you.
And
Jesse.
You're welcome.
People had more compliments for Jesse's read about it than the content of your video on the LFR channel. Let me just throw that out there.
Well, you know what? Then you guys just do the whole thing.
You will not get addicted to Sleep Breakthrough. You'll just get addicted to the fact that you're finally sleeping again. Check it out. BioOptimizers.com/Dangle. Use that promo code Dangle during checkout. It is all natural. And that promo code Dangle gets you 10% off. Now let's get into Jake Guentzel. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Yes.
Jake Guentzel is now a Carolina Hurricane.
Oh, are we talking about the Cruz Lucius trade?
The Cruz Lucius trade? What do you mean by that?
We got to talk about Cruz Lucius. The Pittsburgh Penguins needed to stock that cupboard with quality, quantity, and one of the best damn names in hockey, and Cruz Lucius.
That's right. That's right. So Michael Bunting, who's got term left on his deal, Vasily Ponomarev.
Ponomarev? Yes.
Cruz Lucius and Ville Kovinen, who is not expected to make the NHL. He's got a bit of a...
like immediately?
No, from what I read today... that of all the picks, that's the one of all the prospects that are going to Pittsburgh. That's the one that is like least likely to even play North American hockey. He might go to the,
I looked into it. So Cruz Lucius, whose name I'm going to say as many times as possible.
Sure.
Was a 2022 fourth rounder, doing very well. If I'm not mistaken, they lead their, I believe, college team in scoring. Ville Koivunen, 2021 second rounder, leads his team in Finland in scoring, tied for the team lead. And Vasily, which I'm just noticing now, my phone autocorrected to Vasily Ponomarev, is a 2020 second rounder who looks good in the AHL, and I think he had a 2-game cup of coffee with the Hurricanes, 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points.
It's not bad.
Based simply on where they were drafted, Kuvanen was the highest pick out of all 3 of them. Like, he was 51st overall, and the next one is 53, and then the other one's a 5th round pick. So highest upside, I guess, if you just want to go by draft ranking.
Well, and you can stomach that by getting a 1st round pick. But that's just not, that is almost 99% literally what happened.
Now, I haven't said what the rest of the terms and conditions are.
Yes,
Let me get to that first, obviously.
There.
The conditions on the 2024 second pick and the 2024 5th round pick that are going to Pittsburgh are as follows. The second round pick will become a 1st round pick if Carolina makes it to the Stanley Cup final, which would make it pick 31 or 32, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Stanley Cup final or win the Stanley Cup.
And yes,
same thing.
But they make the Stanley Cup final.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Stanley Cup finals, not win the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a difference of a pick.
Basically, if they're one
matters.
of the last 2 remaining teams, is the
Got it.
They don't have to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, no.
Got it.
The Penguins will receive the 5th round pick if Carolina wins the Stanley Cup. So that pick is the win the cup pick. Now, if we're talking about upgrading a pick from I don't know, Carolina, where they're going to finish in the standings, probably puts that pick at that 2nd round pick at pick what, 40 something, 50 something.
Well, I mean, oh boy, so you're talking about if they bow out before the Stanley Cup.
That's right.
I would imagine high 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you upgrade it to pick 32. Is there a huge difference when you're drafting pick 30 to pick 50 in aggregate games played in the NHL?
Not really.
Now, that's why Dubas likes to, I would say, if they go to the finals, Dubas is trading that pick down and getting 2 picks in the next round.
No.
That's what he's doing.
Adam.
You know that's what he's
know what's going to be the most obnoxious thing? When no matter what that pick is, he trades back anyway.
Yes.
Oh, no.
You know that's what he's
I didn't
doing.
even think of that. Oh, my God. That's going to be infuriating.
Now, let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
What do we know about Kyle Dubas?
Well, I mean, he's pretty tall.
Uh-huh.
Man, it has a haircut you can wind a watch to.
Yeah, Jesse, any thoughts on Kyle Dubas?
That guy
Hold on.
Before Jesse gets.
Hold on. No.
I want to go to
Jesse
first. What do you know?
Jesse, what do you know about Kyle
Let
Dubas?
him finish the
No,
bit.
no.
That's why you asked.
Jesse, make him wait.
I'm making him wait.
wait.
Go
Okay,
for it, Jesse.
Let's just say the thing, and then we can get to the analysis of the trade.
All right. Well, it's early in the day.
Okay.
Might as well warm up the pipes early. Kyle Dubas loves his guys. Loves them. Who do you love most in the entire world? You don't love them as much as Kyle Dubas loves his guys.
And Michael Bunting is one of his guys.
Oh,
Sioux Greyhound, Michael Bunting.
is he a Sioux Greyhound?
Yeah, former Toronto Maple Leaf on a really good deal for 2 years where, he got 63 points his first year. I forgot about that. He got 49 the next year. And the Leafs wanted to re-sign him, but apparently went to the core, and the core said, nah, that's okay. We'll let him go. And so he's gone to Carolina. He scored at around the same pace, a little below what he's been doing the previous years. But remember, he was playing with Matthews and Marner. Here's the difference, though. The last 2 years, he was a plus 27 and a plus 21. In Carolina, minus 15.
Wow.
Bit of a difference.
That feels difficult to do.
Imperfect stat, clearly.
Yes.
But that is a big change.
Can I tell an embarrassing story?
Please.
So I signed a copy of my book months ago. I think it was around the beginning of the season for a family member of Michael Bunting. They're a friend of a friend of a friend, and I didn't know what to write to customize it. Go Leafs Go sounded very inappropriate on account of they just had let him walk. So knowing that he was with the Hurricanes now, I wrote, "All hail Rod the Bod and his mighty squad." And then Bunting got traded 60 games later.
That's great. That's great. Now, what I think is interesting is obviously the Pittsburgh reaction to the Guentzel trade has not been great. People are not thrilled. And I think because, and I think the same was for the Tanev trade in Calgary, the market has been pretty soft this year. You haven't seen tons of first rounders move. I think you saw one for Sean Walker, but really it's not been the first round of Palooza that sometimes it can be.
Yes.
And I think that's because A, Guentzel doesn't have term, and B, they can get away with not trading a first for him. So I think the expectation was set too high. I do think there's pretty significant value in Michael Bunting coming to this team. And the reason I think that is because of a guy named Chris Kunitz. And I'm not saying Michael Bunting is Olympian Chris Kunitz.
Yes. Noted gold medalist Chris Kunitz.
But guys, we've seen Michael Bunting play really well next to elite talent. Offensive-minded, elite talent. He does pretty well. Next to Crosby, could he have a new guy riding shotgun for the next couple of years at $4.5 million?
It says something about Crosby's legacy that absolutely every winger that team has ever acquired since 2005. We're like, wow, is this guy about to get a little bump in production?
Mm-hmm.
And how about Michael Bunting? Like he was Austin Matthews' left winger. And now he's going to be, he might be. We don't know. But he very likely will be Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin's left winger. And I kind of hope he's with Malkin instead of Crosby.
Because they can be crazy together?
They can just be absolutely unhinged together. With Michael Bunting, the Leafs were wrong to rein him in. Let him be nuts. Let him be absolutely nuts and put him with the NHL's reigning prime minister of nuts. Underratedly violent and aggressive red mist king, Evgeny Malkin. I want to see it. The thing with Bunting, though, I don't know how much acquiring Michael Bunting matters to Pittsburgh Penguins fans. I'm not saying he's going to do a bad job. I think they'll like this player. But they traded Jake Guentzel, right? In a seller's deal. They lost 6-0 the night they traded Jake Guentzel. They're selling. And they didn't get a clear-cut first-round pick. What do you care about this, second line, what do you care about this player? What's the direction of the Pittsburgh Penguins? After trading Jake Guentzel, you would think that we have a clear, defined, this is the path forward. And I just don't know that you get that.
Jesse, do you think we could pull that Sidney Crosby clip up?
Sure.
because I think
do that.
I think you make a really good point. Now, this is a little bit unfair. This one's a little unfair because Sidney Crosby had just like they had just got, he watches his buddy leave, and then they get absolutely wrecked by the Washington Capitals.
Hockey players hate post-game interviews, and they hate it even more after a big loss.
Here's what Sid had to say when a reporter asked about the message sent once Guentzel was traded. Go ahead.
Not going to be any more. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he's a great player, great teammate, a friend. I think did everything he possibly could, in his time here. Just a privilege to play with him for the course of that time, and some great memories. And it was just a privilege. That's all I can say.
What are you thinking about the rest of this season? I mean, I know you're trying to get into the playoffs and win every game, but also management sends this message.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably a better question for them. Yeah.
So did any of that distraction from play into what happened tonight?
I don't know, honestly.
Is this compared to anything you've been through before here?
I wouldn't say it is. It's a new experience for sure.
Still pretty confident this thing can be turned around quickly?
I hope. I mean, that would be great. Obviously, tonight's not going to be the kind of game that's going to do that, but I hope so.
So is there an emotional component to this from Saturday night to Sunday to playing a little sloppy on Tuesday to Jake, the status of Jake? Is just sort of weighed on the group?
I think the trade deadline time is always tough, but I think given the circumstances, I would say that's a little heavier.
Thanks.
So,
man, that's a guy who's been here a while, eh? Like, he handled that about as well as he could.
And you can hear there's some pain in his voice. But guys, I want to run this by you. Cap Friendly had this out last night after the trade. Actually, it was this morning at exactly midnight. Trading Guentzel reduces the Pens LTIR relief by $6 million. They are currently short $2.275 million to be cap compliant.
What?
Therefore, additional moves need to be made before 5 p.m. today. So we will see Penguins moves today. Options include trades to decrease the cap. Can they LTIR a player? Maybe Brian Rust, only if he's expected to be injured long enough, or reassignments. But they've got to do it. I don't know that they can go forward without having some sort of decision on that.
Yeah, and that's not too complicated of a situation because Brian Rust is already on IR, and they could probably just shift him.
Right.
Yes.
So it's not like they fucked up the cap,
Well,
we gotta call Brandon Pridham to get back to Dubas and tell him how to work this thing.
That's right.
I think they did that long ago. So Jake Guentzel didn't play for the Carolina angle of it.
Oh no, we got to hit that part.
Yeah, Jake Guentzel did not play in the playoffs last year. He was injured. The previous year, 2022, when he was in the playoffs, he played 7 games. Would anyone like to take a guess at how many goals he had?
No idea.
8.
Nice.
Wow.
Dude had 8 goals in 7 playoff games, and they somehow didn't win that series. He's got 34 goals and 24 assists in 58 career playoff games. That's 58 points, so he's exactly a point a game. In terms of goals, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, over his career, he scores at a 48-goal pace if the Stanley Cup playoffs were a regular season.
That's amazing.
Dude, he's cracked.
Yeah.
He's really, really good at this whole goal scoring thing. Good pickup for the Hurricanes. I think he matches them well. Some defensive deficiencies, but I think Carolina has the depth that they should be able to cover that up a little bit.
Jesse, if you're Carolina and you've had the goaltending issues you've had this year, does bringing in more offense make a better defense?
Yeah, the goaltending is gonna be fine. Freddie Anderson's coming back. He had that blood clot issue since November, I think, and then now he's back on the ice skating. So I think they'll be fine in terms of goaltending because they have 3 goaltenders, and as long as you just have strength in numbers with goalies these days, it seems like you can figure it out and you can win enough games. And Carolina's such a good team. We forget they were in the conference finals last year, even though they got smoked by Florida. They still made it. You know, still impressive little playoff run. It's not how you want it to end, but they were in some of the a lot of those games. So I think Carolina will be perfectly fine in this situation.
Rod Brindamore famously had that press conference where he talked about it being a close series or tight series. I don't remember what his exact words were.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was a sweep, and we lamented that Sheldon Keefe would have got roasted for saying the same thing. In fairness, like he wasn't wrong.
No.
He wasn't wrong. It was a close sweep, but it was a sweep, but it was close.
Some losses look better than others.
I want to do one last thing and point this out for Carolina Hurricanes fans. What Guentzel brings, obviously he's only played 50 games this year because he has been injured of late. 52 points. There is only one player on the Carolina Hurricanes roster who has more points than games played, and that is Sebastian Aho. Seth Jarvis could have been a Leafs pick. Seth Jarvis, Marty Necas, and Teuvo Teravainen all have 48, 44, and 41. Svechnikov has only played 41 games. He has 39 points. Having these guys on, have a little bit of that pressure taken off them, I think is going to be a huge point too.
Yeah. Well, for them to make this ad while not really trading off their roster, or at very least unaffected from last playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Bunting was on their roster. He was a significant part of it. But, the Carolina Hurricanes didn't sacrifice, I think, 1 ounce of their identity in this deal.
It's a great deal for the Hurricanes. There's questions about the Pittsburgh one, but we'll see what Kyle Dubas can do for the rest of the trade deadline.
I think we'll be getting a Pens recap video probably at the end of the day.